Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, like another random video here. Today's topic is a video I mentioned in the Resident Evil tier list of I mentioned that I'm going to be making a video about why the female cast of the Resident Evil series has been mistreated, or basically mishandled, mistreated. I might put both of them. So here we go. The Resident Evil female cast, most of them are mistreated, mishandled, and literally just there for the sex appeal. I know sex sells. I know that sex sells all the time. It doesn't change. But most of the female characters are literally just terrible. I can tell you a couple examples. I'm going to run down every Resident Evil female character, main ones. Jill, Ada, Claire, Rebecca. I'll talk about those. I'm not gonna talk about Shava. I'm not gonna talk about Helena. Like, those female characters that appear like once. They appear more than once, I'll be talking to them. Like, heck, it was Sherry maybe. So I'll talk about those. I'm not gonna talk about, oh my god, why Shava doesn't come back? Oh my god, why Helena's gonna come back? Why do I want to mention those characters? Because those characters are not memorable female characters. No one cares about them. No one gives a shit about them. So, anyways, let's begin. Like, the problem is with the Resident Evil female cast has been literally basically just there, like I said, for the sex appeal. And like I said again, sex sells. There's many reasons why some of the female characters start out great in the early games and they just decrease in from character standpoint. Their personality just become like worse. They changed up a lot of things of the character used to be. I know they're up in age, but they could have just had some bit of semblance of those type of characteristics, but kind of like fight just ruin them, or they just flat just ruin these characters, just ruin them completely. So the first exhibit A, Jill Valentine. Jill Valentine is the prime example of how you start up as a good female character to just completely ruin her beyond belief, and just unbelievably just ruin her. In Resident Evil, so from 1996 to 2002, this is the good Jill era. Well, Jill, in the first Resident Evil game, she doesn't show that much of, like, she's not as a badass as she was in like Resident Evil 3. So she's like, the master of unlocking, she's basically kind of like the female lead type of characteristics. Not a lot of stuff about the first one. So then you got Resident Evil 3 remake starring Jill, which is by far the best iteration of Jill Valentine in the series. The original, the Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, not the remake. Resident Evil 3 Jill is by far the best Jill. Badass. She's a badass. She can fight back. She's tough. Like, literally, to give you an idea how tough she is, she took a rocket launcher to the face and still walking her own freaking feet. Normally she'll be fucking blown to bits. But no, she gets back up and walks like nothing happens. I won't screw with her. I won't screw with Jill. After that, like, she's pretty tough. In the game, in Resident Evil 3, she definitely doesn't trust like Carlos, because honestly, Carlos in the original, was just a bit of like more of a playboy type character, not too strong as a male character in Resident Evil 3. He's more of a side character, not a main character. He feels like a side character compared to the remake. We make him a main character, which he's improved, an improvement. I think that, Gianna doesn't trust Carlos that much, but she trusts him basically like halfway through and all that type of shit. So, and everything been doing well, become partners and all that. She was a badass and she was cool. She's pretty cool. So her character's going up a bit. Then you got Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is basically a remake of number 2. I think she got a bit of improvement, a bit of an improvement. She's still kind of the same with the original, but has a bit of improvement. You know, not just from looks, but from personality. She's being a bit like, you know, strong in personality instead of just using, oh my god, I can't let it open, something like that. You know, that type of thing. So yeah, and Julia Waltz, by the way, is a badass. She's fucking hot. She's by far the best like face model of Jill out of all of them. Julia Waltz, she's fucking badass. Anyways, so you got that. So you got those. So okay, so Jill, she's a decent female character. She's pretty good. Then you have Resident Evil 5. What happened? What happened in RE5? Her personality came from a literal badass to a basically sex symbol. A literal sex symbol. Her outfit in the Resident Evil 5 main game could just tell you all about her. They sexualized her to the absolute insane level. They dumbed down her personality. They dumbed her down. This is where the downfall happened. Even in Resident Evil, in Lost Nightmares, she's okay, I guess. But in Resident Evil 5, the main game, she was terrible. She was terrible. She was really terrible, and this is where the downfall happens. Then we have Resident Evil Revelations. She's just bland. In Resident Evil, like, Revelations, she's bland. Honestly, bland. Then you have the worst. The absolute worst, the bottom of the barrel, the worst Jill interpretation ever. Resident Evil 3 Remake. I talked about this last year. I made a video of the 5 things Capcom should do to make the Resident Evil director's cut the experience to play the game, and I mentioned in a second. And number 2, I mentioned like rewriting Jill's lines, and her lines delivery were pretty decent, but the lines itself are just awful. It's just awful, but not like DMC Devil May Cry Dante awful, not that cringy, not that to the cringe level, but it's almost getting there. It's kind of almost getting there, but in the middle. She was totally unlikable. Her badassery level dimmed down. The lines are just shit. Like saying bitch can't even swim and take a freaking hit. It's just so bad that her lines are so awful that I literally cringed. Like, even when I saw a friend of mine, Tigger, play the game, I just literally cringed so hard. I couldn't believe it, like her personality being terrible. The only time she cared about, not care about Carlos, the only time she actually trusted Carlos, trusting him, was at the very end of the game, after she got the vaccine, she got the virus. She cared about him there. She didn't care about him prior. It's terrible. And by the way, if you watch the Yete 112 YouTube channel and seeing a parody, that's what I felt like Jill is. She's being a little bitch in that game. She's not as badass, and it's freaking terrible. Now we have right now we haven't seen Jill in any mainline games. Like after 5, we haven't seen her at all, or any whereabouts, nothing. Left out of the gutter. One of many characters been left out of fucking gutter for a pretty long time. And people have to chat the freaking hashtag bring back Jill Valentine. Honestly, like, to be real, if they didn't fuck up her character in Resident Evil 3 Remake and the way they write her character out, I would say yeah, I think she'll be back. It'll be kind of good to see her back. But honestly, they're gonna fuck her up even more if they bring her back, because they cannot fucking write a decent female character. I'll give you an example of a good female character writing, or like, I'm not big of a writer, but seeing, but looking from from a casual point of view, she's really not a badass. Or from like a person who's a fan of the series, she's not as badass as she was back in the previous games. So that's one character. And I know I talked about this character for now like 8 minutes. I know this will be a long ass video, so yeah. If you guys just get triggered when I say, it's just my opinion on the Resident Evil female characters. At this point, if you can get this without getting triggered, if you got through it, not getting triggered, I might just get a trigger warning in the title as well. So for those people try to be like, assholes and dicks. It's just my opinion on the female characters. Next up, we have Claire Redfield, which is my favorite female character in the Resident Evil series. Another character that has a drastic fucking change from Resident Evil 2 being a loving, sweet, caring, a badass character. All female characters are badasses, but in like their own way. And very loving, like type of girl, to just completely cold, unrecognizable. I can't recognize like Claire in Revelations 2. Her iteration, her lines delivery and everything, even the voice actors felt so dull and so bad that I like saying, oh, who the fuck is this lady? This lady kind of looks like similar to Claire. It's similar to Claire Redfield, but this is not Claire Redfield. Thankfully, in Resident Evil 2 Remake, they made her character a lot better. Like bring back kind of her classic kind of characteristics, you know. She's not as like sweet as she was in the original, but she's pretty close to it. But not as bad as Revelations 2. Revelations 2, they fucked her up so badly. She kind of like revives. And like I mentioned with Jill, we haven't heard any whereabouts about her. We haven't heard anything about her. All we saw, like from Claire, everything that happened before, like in 2006 with Afraid of Darkness, in 1998, 2015 is like the latest. I'm sorry, 2015. We know about Jill. Sorry, not Jill. Claire. We haven't seen her in any modern game yet. Left out of the fucking gutter, just like Jill. Again, why not using Claire? We haven't heard from her. We haven't heard anything about her. What happened to her? Did she die? Did the female characters die? Did they just don't even do anything anymore? What happened? That's the problem. They don't use some of these female characters. Ada Wong, next up in our list is Ada Wong. And she's probably the only female character that's not left out of the gutter. Still been using and still featured in the Resident Evil games to this day. She's still featured. Ada, she's a mysterious character and has a lot of her background's a mystery. Her personality is a mystery. She's a spy. Her personality, she's hiding being a spy is, you know, she's a pretty, not the best spy in the world, to be honest. She's a decent spy. I liked her in Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 Remake and Resident Evil 4. Both of them are pretty good iterations of Ada. They're pretty good iterations. I love Ada in RE4 a lot more for her voice and how seductive her voice is. I'm not gonna lie about it. Yeah, I like Ada. Ada in number 6, she's okay, I guess. And yeah, she's fine, I guess. I would say she's decent. I'm not saying she's like, oh my gosh, she's perfect, but she's decent. In Resident Evil 6, in Resident Evil 2 Remake, she's a bit too seductive, way too close to Leon, and her death is not as impactful in Resident Evil. So she's, I was thinking about like, and then people like, her personality in Resident Evil 2 Remake, they kind of like fucked her up a little bit. They fucked up her personality a little bit more, just a little bit. Not too bad. So Ada's been basically the only female character not like left out of the gutter, not fully, but she will be left out of the gutter. And I heard that she might be the character for the Resident Evil Village DLC. Hopefully, she's gonna be in Resident Evil Village. So far, like Ada's the only character that's been doing well. She's definitely the poster female character of the Resident Evil series. It's not Claire, it's not Jill, it's Ada. Now we're gonna move into the next female character, Sherry. I'm gonna move her. Sherry, we haven't seen a lot of her, so I don't have that much to say. I wish they made games of her more. And plus, she has the Ambries or G virus, so she is gonna stay young. So would you see her like, she's 26. Probably when she was 40, she still looked the same. She'll look the same even if she's 50. She will look the same, young and all that shit, and pretty much all the characters will be old as fuck. Cher's gonna be like one of the youngest looking character. Like she'll be like 40, and she still look the same as she's in her 20s. She still look the same. You could have made a game about her or something, but if you don't want to do it, then it's fine. Still have any like what happened to her. We haven't heard anything about her. I hope they do something with her. Could have been great. Actually, I was pretty excited to see Sherry back after a couple of years. Now for the next character, and I believe the last character that's not been used in a, and we talk about Resident Evil games, mind you, okay? We talk about games. We're not talking about any movies. Movies does not count, and remakes doesn't count as like, you know, once like, oh, in the game, in the remake, they used her. No, we don't care about the remakes. We care about is the main games, like what happened in the timeline of the games. The last appearance of this character's game, like for example, like what game that came out, like timeline-wise. Like we don't care about the remake, we don't care about the movies. Those won't count. So we haven't seen Jill since RE5, so we haven't seen her in a pretty long time. We haven't seen Claire in Resident Evil Revelations 2. We haven't seen her for a very long time. We haven't seen Cher for a pretty long time. So that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much what it is. You know, for those like who misunderstood. Now finally we have Rebecca Chambers. Probably the female character has been left out of the gutter for way too fucking long and been literally not used whatsoever. By far the absolute misused character. I know that not a lot of people are fans of Rebecca Chambers and found her annoying. But out of like the annoying female characters in the Resident Evil series, I would pick Rebecca Chambers over Helena, over Sheva, over Ashley, over some of the female characters. Because she, at least, you know, she's one of the main characters, one of the main female characters in the series, alongside Jill. She hasn't been used in a Resident Evil game since Resident Evil 0, and that is 20 years ago. 20 years! Like I said, remakes and remasters, you know, does not count. We haven't seen her in like an action since like 2002. We haven't seen her ever since then. And the movie does not count. We haven't seen her, what happened to her, what things happened, you know, even though the movies are canon to the series, but what about game? What about in-game? We haven't seen her in like since like what, 1998. We haven't seen her in-game. We haven't seen her since. Like what the hell? You could have made a game about her, even though I heard rumors of saying that Revelations 3 is going to feature her, so what are they going to do with her? They're going to ruin her character, ruin her personality, you know, all that type of stuff. You know, she's still doing the thumbs ups and all that stuff, but like, it's just proven that most of the female characters in the Resident Evil series have been either mistreated or treated kind of alright, I guess. They're not treated like actual characters. They treat like as like, oh, just a sex symbol. That's it. And this is not just a Resident Evil problem. That goes to other franchises, you know, like Devil May Cry with Lady and Trish. With Trish is basically, she's a sex symbol from 4 and 5. Same thing with you know, Lady. Just to clear it out. This video is not about like, oh, characters being heavily sexualized is bad, you know. But most people play video games are males, so it makes sense to sexualize some of the things. But sexualized to a point that, you know, and have like no personality and no character, just there's a sex symbol. It's just like, it's terrible. It's basically being like Excella. Excella, she doesn't have that much of any character. She's there for sex, so it's a sex symbol. Excella is a perfect female character that has like, it's fully sex symbol, has nothing to offer. As Lady Dimitrescu, another one. There you go. So, and just before I end this, just to end this, bring back Billy Cohen. Can you bring him back? I'm tired of Capcom using Chris and Leon so fucking much. Chris is just there because he's there. He's just there. He's there. Leon's been overused. To a slim of chance, there's a slim of chance I say that I'm kind of getting tired of him like hugging the spotlight. Give Billy a shot. If I talk about male characters, Like characters need to come back, like Billy, Hunk. You can bring those characters back, but mostly Billy. Bring him back for some reason. I don't know why the fuck you don't bring him back. Why? Why not bring Billy back? Why is that? Bring him in a video game capacity. Like, he is a character that he is main character material. You could just replace Leon or Chris and build up Billy. Build him up. Make like a side game about him. Make a side game about him to build up the character until like maybe like Resident Evil 10 or 11, he'll appear as a main character. Build him up. Missing opportunity. He's a wasted potential of a character. Wasted potential. That's a true wasted potential character. A literal badass. I really like good looking, a badass. A really like a tragic backstory. A man has a tragic backstory. You've experienced it in Resident Evil 0. But what happened into the village that he raided with his soldiers. That's pretty much all to say. That's all. Capcom, yes, you should literally like. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention about a good female character, Lara Croft. I've been playing the reboot games. She's not that heavily sexualized. She's not, has no care. She doesn't have like, she's not annoyingly like, she's like annoying. She has personality. She's a badass. She is better than basically majority of the Resident Evil female cast. She can beat them in terms of personality. Because most of the Resident Evil female cast have like literally, they have some sort of personality and train stuff like that. But then like in later on games, they have nothing. They're literally just a shell. Like how Lara Croft from the reboot series beat the most of the Resident Evil female cast. Like how the fuck? I think because they're two different companies. One's a Square Enix, and the other is Capcom. One's that's been doing RGRPG series. The other is just doing Resident Evil action games. I guess just a good example. And that's all basically I have to say. So what do you think? What's your opinion on the Resident Evil female cast? You think that you agree with what I'm saying? Do you think you have your own pointers? Leave it down in the comments below. You have your own points, you have your own thing, you have your own idea. What's your opinion? Leave it down in the comments below. Like, do you agree, disagree? Do you have your conflict with what I'm saying? Or you like have some of your own opinion? Just leave it down in the comments below. Share me your opinion on things, and we can have some chat. And that's it. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel. Subscribe, follow me on social media, links down below, my Discord server. Right now we're at 40 subscribers right now as we speak. 40 subscribers, 10 more for 50, and 60 for 200 subscribers. Hopefully we hit 200 subscribers this year. Hopefully we hit that number. So that's the end of the video, and I'll see y'all next time. Later.